Yeah, good evening, everybody. I welcome you all for the second day of this coaching orientation program. On behalf of TKFI, Technical Committee, Coaching Committee, and Referees Board Committee. Now, yesterday we have been dealt with the grip of the quoit, the spinning of the quoit in front of your body, forehand side as well as backhand side. And today we'll be going with all the routine exercises outside the court. But the exercise what you do outside the court is general for all the sports. It is general, it is called general exercise. In all the sports and games, what will happen? There will be a general exercise and a specific exercise. General exercise is done by everybody, irrespective of their games and sports what they are playing. Everybody will be doing that general exercise. Once you come to the specific exercise, it is concerned only with the game what you are playing. Only with the game what you are playing. So that is called specific exercise. So we will be dealing with both the exercise today. General exercise as well as a specific exercise. After that, what you have to do inside the court. The exercises what you are doing inside the court is called specific exercises. You will be doing inside the court. And outside the court is general exercise. Apart from that, we will be doing other exercises pertaining to this game with the quoit, without the quoit. So we have to practice without quoit. Once you are accustomed to that exercises, we can go with the quoit. Okay. Now before doing that, before proceeding with the second day session, I want to tell you one thing. Preparation of the court is a must. Being a coach, you should know how to prepare a court. Without knowing the preparation of the court, you cannot guide your children. You cannot guide the interested players coming to you to learn this game. So, how to draw the court? I'll deal with that within 10 minutes. I'll complete. Now, how to draw a court? So, how to prepare a court in your ground? Now, before doing that, you have to mark an imaginary straight line. In your ground, you have to mark imaginary straight line of 30 feet. Imaginary straight line of 30 feet. And before doing this, keep it in mind. We never prepare a court in east and west direction. We'll be preparing the court north and south direction. We'll be preparing the court only in the north and south direction. Never prepare a court in east and west. Because if you prepare east and west, the player will be facing difficulty because the sun is quite opposite to the player. In the morning it will be in the east, in the evening it will be west. So players will be disturbed. So if you are preparing a court in the east and west, it will be different. Now you have to prepare in south and north direction. Okay, you have to prepare the court in south and north and south direction. Okay, now you have drawn an imaginary line in east and west. East and west, you are drawing an imaginary line of 30 feet. Now, from the starting point of the imaginary line, you have to take a 3 feet marking. A 3 feet marking from the point of the starting point of the imaginary. You have drawn 30 feet. From the starting point of the imaginary line, take a 3 feet. 3 feet distance and mark an arc with that. You have to take a nail and mark an arc with that nail. 3 feet. Now, 4 feet. You have drawn the arc on one side. Now, on the 4 feet line, that is on imaginary line, from the same starting point, you mark 4 feet arc. You mark 4 feet arc on the imaginary line. 3 feet arc towards the west or north or south direction. You mark 3 feet. Now from the starting point to the imaginary, on the imaginary line, you draw 4 feet arc. Now, when you have drawn the arc of 4 feet on the imaginary line, there will be a bisect. Okay, already there is a mark of 30 feet. From the starting point, if you are taking 4 feet, there will be an arc. Okay, so there will be an arc where the point of this straight line and the arc is meeting. From there to the 3 feet line. From the there 3 feet line. Now you have to take the 5 feet distance. You have to take 5 feet distance. Already you have taken a 3 feet mark towards the north-south direction. Towards north and south direction, you have taken 3 feet mark. From the starting point on the imaginary line, you have taken 4 feet mark. Now there is a bisect of the imaginary line and the 4 feet. Now from that bisect, take 5 feet distance and mark on the 3 feet arc. Mark on the 3 feet arc. Okay, is it clear? Now first draw an imaginary line of 30 feet. From the starting point of the 30 feet, put a 3 feet arc or north and south directions. Both sides you can draw arc. Now from the starting point of the imaginary line, take 4 feet on the imaginary line, draw an arc where the point bisects. Okay, the point of intersection of the straight line and as well as the arc. From there, you take 5 feet distance and mark an arc over the 3 feet on both the sides. Now, what will happen? You will get a straight line. You will get a straight line. Now, on both the sides, you have drawn arc. You join this 3 feet line, this side of the imaginary line, and 3 feet line, this side of the, you will get a straight line. You will get a straight line. Now, in the same way, you have to mark up to 18 feet or 20 feet so that you will get a straight line. Now, you got the middle line as well as the side line. You got the middle line as well as the side line. Now, after marking the side line for 20 feet to your left and 20 feet to your right, it is 40 feet distance. Now from the imaginary line, starting point of the imaginary line, take 18 feet. Take 18 feet, mark there 18 feet. Already you have got a side line. You got a side line straight. Now on the imaginary line, you mark 18 feet. From 18 feet, you do the same procedure. You do the same procedure. 3 feet on either side of the imaginary line, 3 feet either side of the imaginary line, 4 feet on the imaginary line. From the intersection point, 5 feet on the 3 feet arc on both the sides of the imaginary line. Again, you will get the same line, straight line. Now you got both the side lines of 20 feet, that is 20 feet on the right side of the imaginary line, 20 feet on the left side of the imaginary line. That is 40 feet, both lines you got on the, that is called side lines. Now, you join the side lines. You join both the side lines at the end. You take 20 feet mark from the imaginary line on the side line, on both the sides. Now join both the lines. In the same way on the other side, take 20 feet mark on both the side lines, join the lines, side lines. Now you got the external periphery of the code. You got the periphery of the code, side lines as well as the end lines. Those side lines are very long, that is 40 feet distance, and the end lines are 18 feet distance. Side lines are 40 feet, end lines are 18 feet. Okay, now you got the periphery, the external diagram of this tenoid cone. Now, from where you have drawn the imaginary line, that is 30 feet you have drawn. Now we are taking only the 18 feet distance. So you got 40 feet side lines, 18 feet end lines. Now from the middle line, that is the imaginary line, you take, already you have taken 3 feet arc, okay? On both the sides you are taken 3 feet arc. Join those 3 feet arcs. As you are joining the end lines, you join this 3 feet line on both the sides of the imaginary line. That is called, you have prepared dead coat. 3 feet to the imaginary line to the left side, 3 feet to the imaginary of the right side. So you got the dead coat also. Now you got how many lines? You got 2 side lines, 2 end lines, 2 dead coat lines. Now you have almost 90% you have finished your coat. Now on the sideline, which is 18 feet, you take a 9 feet mark. On the sidelines, which is 18 feet, you take a 9 feet mark. Okay, again come on to the deadline. It is also 19 feet. Now take, it is also 18 feet. Now take the half mark, that is 9 feet on the deadline also. Now come to the second deadline. It is 18 feet. Take the 9 feet point also, mark the 9 feet. Then go back to the second end line. It is also 18 feet. Now mark the 9 feet mark. Now you got 9 feet mark on 2 deadlines, 2 end lines. Now join all the lines from end line to the deadline. On one side of the imaginary line, join the 9 feet mark from the end line to the deadline. Okay. Now again from the other side, leave the dead box. Don't join in between the dead box. Deadline, leave it the dead box code. Now from the second end line to the second deadline. Already you have marked 9 feet, you join. Now you have got the complete code. Now, yesterday I told you, if you are standing in a court, the left side of the court will be your backhand. The right side of the court will be your forehand. Now, if you assume that you are a right-hander, so right side court will be forehand, the left side court will be backhand. Okay. Now you have prepared the court. Now how many lines you got? You got 2 side lines of 40 feet, 2 end lines and 2 dead lines of 18 feet, and a middle line which is cutting the forehand and backhand at 9 feet mark. That is called zone line. So you got 2 side lines, 2 end lines, 2 dead lines, 2 zone lines. So these are the marking. Now from end of the, that is from end line, you put a 10 feet mark. From end line, you put a 10 feet mark on zone line on both the sidelines also. From end line, one end of the line, you put 10 mark on the end line. Then come to the zone line, put 10 feet mark. Again come to the other end line, put 10 feet mark. Now join all the 3 marks of 10 feet. That is called restricted line. Do the same on the other side of the imaginary line. From the end line, take 10 feet inside the court. On the zone line, 10 feet inside the court. And on the other end line, 10 feet inside the court. Join all the 3 lines. So that is called restricted line. Now you have got the complete picture of the court. Now there are 2 side lines. If you make it half, it will be 20 feet. Now I am talking of the complete court. So 40 feet sidelines 2 are there. 40 feet sidelines 2 are there. 18 feet end lines 2 are there. On either side of the court, 18 feet 2 are there. Now 18 feet dead lines are there, which is called dead box. And again 18 feet you got restricted line. and 17 feet zone line. Why I am telling 17 feet zone line is, out of 20 feet, you have taken 3 feet for the dead box. So out of 20, if you minus 3 feet, it will be 17 feet. Now the zone line will be only of 17 feet. So how many lines you got? 2 side lines, 2 end lines, 2 zone lines, 2 dead lines, and 2 restricted lines. So you got a complete code prepared. Now, so if you are having any difficulty in understanding this, you can ask me. Sai oka paper iyali. If you are having any doubt in this, I can just put it on a paper for you.
Can you draw it on a paper so can it maybe more clear for us?
Yeah, I'll be doing that. I'll be doing that. 1 minute.
Thank you, sir.
Mehul Koradia, please switch on your video.
Yes, this is east and west. East and west, north and south. East and west, north and south. Now I am drawing an imaginary line. I am drawing an imaginary line towards east and west. It may not be straight. I am just towards east and west. You are drawing an imaginary line. You have drawn an imaginary line on east and west. Okay? You have to draw the chord in the north and south direction. Now you have taken an imaginary line on east and west. Now, after taking imaginary line, from the starting point of the imaginary line, you have to take 3 feet on either side of the imaginary line. With 3 feet arc, you have to make an arc. From here, you make an arc. 3 feet arc, and here also 3 feet arc. Okay? On the imaginary line, end of the imaginary line or starting point of the line, you are taking 3 feet arc on either side of the imaginary line. From here, 3 feet mark here, 3 feet. It is an arc. Okay? Now this is 3 feet. That is 3 feet arc. Now from the starting point, you take 4 feet inside the imaginary line. From here, you draw 4 feet here, imaginary line. On the imaginary line, you draw 4 feet. That is 4 feet from the imaginary line. Now you can see a bisect here. Imaginary line, okay, this is bisect. From the bisect point, where it has been bisected, from this point of the bisect, take 5 feet. This is 4 feet, 5 feet. From 5 feet, you bisect the 3 feet line. You bisect the 3 feet line on either side. This is from starting line, imaginary starting line, this is 3 feet. There is an arc. From the starting line, you put 4 feet arc. The point where it bisects, from there, on either side of the imaginary line, 3 feet, you bisect with the arc, that is 5 feet. You have to take 5 feet and bisect. Now what will happen? You will get a straight line. Okay? The point where you have drawn, you will get a straight line. You will get a straight line. Okay? That is 3 feet arc. This is 4 feet arc. From here to 3 feet, it is 5 feet arc. In this manner, you have to take a straight line. From here, from this point, you are taking 4 feet, 3 feet, and from here, this point, you are taking 3 feet arc. From this point, you are taking 4 feet arc. Again, you have to draw 3 feet so that you will get an equal position. From here to here, 5 feet. So you will again extending the line. So you will get a complete straight line this side. So you got a complete straight line on one side of your coat. You got a complete straight line. This is called side line. This is side line. In the same manner, this side also you have to draw. From you take 18 feet. From here to here, 18 feet. 18 feet. From this point, you take 3 feet on either side. From here, 4 feet. From here to here, 5 feet on either side. You will get the same line. Okay? So in this manner, you will get a complete side line. You will get 2 side lines, because already from this point to this point it is 18 feet. From here you measure 20 feet, then join this line. This is 18 feet. In the same way you have to extend and join that line. Okay, this you got one side of the coat. One side of the coat. These 2 side lines. Okay, already you have taken a 3 feet imaginary line distance. You join that. It is called dead coat. It is dead line. From here you take a 9. This is 18 feet. You take a mark of 9 feet. On the sideline also 9 feet. You join both the 9 feet. You join both the 9 feet. That is zone line. From the top you take 10 feet inside. From the top 10 feet inside. Now join both these lines. It is restricted line. It is in the same way you have to draw here also. Fine. Now, after preparing the coat, what are the exercises you have to do? That is physical exercise. I told you there are 2 things. One is general exercise, one is specific exercise. General exercise, start from your neck. You have to start from your neck. And neck means don't rotate your neck. Don't rotate your neck. Okay? I'll show you the neck exercise. I'll do it only for 5 counts. I'll do it for only 5 counts. Rest all I'll be doing for 2 seconds. Okay? Now, how to start the neck rotation? That is neck exercise. We call it neck exercise. You have to keep your hands under your chin. Stretch out your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this manner, you have to go for 10 seconds. Then interlock your fingers, hands back, push your head down. The chin should touch the notch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is for 10 counts. All 10 counts. Now, your right hand, pull your head down for 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release your left hand. 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. Now your right hand, push your head sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10 counts. With your left hand, push your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 counts. You have finished neck exercise. You have finished neck exercise. Now shoulder exercise or rest your hands. Hands sideways. You have to move, rotate your wrist for 10 counts forward and 10 counts back. Then your shoulders, 10 counts forward, 10 counts back. Then your arm swinging, 1, 2, this is for 10 counts. Then both hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is for 10 counts. Again back, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is for 10 counts. Now trunk rotation, 1, 2, this is for 10 counts. Other direction, this is for 10 counts. Now sideways, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is for 10 counts. Then forward bending, 1, 2, this is for 10 counts. Then feet apart. Why I'm going very fast is generally everybody knows this. Every sportsman will be doing this general exercise. Okay. After this forward bending, now front and back. 1, back, 2, back. After this alternate toe touches. 1, 2, 3, 4. After this, turn to your right, bend your knees. 1, 2. This is for 10 counts. To your left, this is for 10 counts. Now turn, raise your heel up. This is for 10 counts. To your left, raise your heel up. This is for 10 counts. Now jump and jacks. You have to jump, moving your hands. You have to jump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this, 10 counts. Again forward, sides, then up. All the exercise for 10 counts. All the exercise to be done 10 counts. But keep it in mind. If you are a coach, you have to keep few things in your mind. It is not that you are a coach and you are training students. Apart from that, you have to keep 2 things in your mind. Even when you are doing the exercises also, you have to keep this in mind. If you are coaching students, if you are giving training to the students, what I have shown you now will be done after completion of the running. First you have to ask them to run. Okay, first walk, then slowly jogging, then running. It will take 7 to 10 minutes. After that, you have to come to this exercise. But when you are doing these things, you have to keep an eye on each and every individual. This is a must for a coach. This is a must. You should not forget. On each and every individual, you should see their face. When they are doing the exercise, see their face. Don't look at their positions, how they are doing. No. In the beginning, you have to see their faces. What for I am telling is, exercise, they'll be doing within 2 days, 3 days, they'll come to know. But your position, you have to see their face. If the color of their face is changing, immediately stop the exercise. Keep this in mind. If the color of the face is changing, you stop the exercise for that particular person because he is completely tired. He is completely tired. If you don't stop the exercise, he will fall down. Now it will be on your neck. Okay? Don't pull him. He is just a beginner. So keep this in mind. When he is doing the exercise, watch his face. If he is sweating more, first point. Second, if the color of the face is changing, so stop the exercise, ask him to take rest. If not, he will collapse. And it will be difficult for you to do the first aid. So my request to all the coaches, in the beginning, watch their exercise, See that if they are sweating more, ask them to stop. If the color of the face changes, ask them to stop. Okay, so this is the basic. To a coach, this knowledge is basic for them. If they don't follow, suddenly that player will fall down and you don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. So keep these things in mind. Now, I hope I am clear with the general exercises. I am clear with the general exercise. Now, let me go to the specific exercise of the court. Specific exercise. So, yesterday, I was telling you, regarding the spin of the coin, how to lock and how to unlock, how to release the coin when you are unlocking. Now, with the coin, I told you how to release, unlock. When you are unlocking, you are releasing. Now, how to receive also is there. How to receive. Now, what you will think, if somebody throws the coin, you have to receive. It is not like that. You have to practice the receiving also. How you have to practice is, the forehand is same, in front of your body is same, but backhand, you have to release and receive. How you have to receive? Watch me. This is backhand, I told you yesterday. This is lock, unlock, lock, unlock. When you are unlocking, release the coin. Now, the coin, you have to throw it in front of, okay? Now it is going. Again, you are holding like this. You are holding it like this, okay? This is you are holding. Now, how to receive? When the opponent throws the coin, you will be receiving it like this. When the opponent is throwing the coin, you will receive like this. And you will release. You will receive like this and you will release like this. Now, you have to release and you have to receive. How? From there, now lock it, unlock, release, catch from behind. Release, catch from behind. Release, catch from behind. Release. When it is going, catch from behind. Till now, we are catching like this. We are catching like this. Now, you have to release, catch from behind. The kite is going away. You have to catch from behind. Means you are receiving it. From here, throw, catch from behind. Throw, catch from behind. Throw, catch from behind. Throw, catch from. Because you are holding like this. When the opponent is throwing, you are holding like this. So simultaneously, you will be practicing this. Now, after getting this, now you have to do all the three exercises. Now watch me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You should be well versed with all these movements. In front of your body, side, backhand, forward, forward, forehand, backhand, forward, forehand, backhand. All these things should be mingled up and you have to practice all these things. Fine. Is there any doubt in this? Okay, I'll be continuing now. Mr. Dinesh.
Yes, sir.
If they are having any doubt, they can unmute.
Yes, sir. It is.
You got that facility, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They can.
Okay. If you are having any doubt, you can unmute and ask me. I'll give you 2 minutes time. Any doubt? You can ask me, or I'll continue with the things. Okay. Now, we have dealt with the physical fitness outside that is general fitness. Now coming to the point of exercise done in the court, that is playing area. Playing area. There are around 7 to 8 exercises. In the court, there are 7 to 8 exercises by which you can move all around the court to receive the court To receive the quoit, you have to move towards the forehand, backhand toss, forehand placing, forehand sides. There are many movements. So how to do these movements? So before you make, first you have to give the students, tell them how to spin the quoit. Then as soon as they come, if you start them quote exercise, second day they will not come. You have to encourage them. First give them ring, let them play. Once they are getting, then you start indulging these things. Slowly inculcate these exercises. This first physical exercise, then quote exercise. In the beginning, if you tell them physical exercise and quote exercise, they'll say goodbye to you. So first you have to create interest. Now, coming to the point of quote exercise, I finished my physical fitness exercise, that is general exercise. We are going to specific exercise in the quote. The first exercise, you can note it down if you want. The first exercise is called front and back. The name of the exercise is front and back. What do you mean by that? The name itself denotes front and back. Front means you have to go front, back means you have to come back. Front means you have to go front, back means you have to come back. But you will not change the direction of your body. You going front like this, coming back like this. You will be facing the net only. Every time you will be facing the net. When you are going forward, you will face the net. When you are coming back, you will face the net. That is called front and back exercise. Front and back. How you have to do, I'll let you know. That is called front and back exercise. Second is called side exercise. That is called sideways. First one is front and back. Second exercise is sideways. Third exercise is, now it is towards the forehand toss. You call it forehand toss. You can write F by H. F by H is forehand. First exercise is front and back. Second exercise is sideways. Third exercise is forehand toss. Forehand toss. You can write F by H. You can write like this, F by H, that is forehand. If it is backhand, you write B by H. If it is backhand, you have to write, this is forehand, F by H, backhand, B by H. So that is backhand. Now the first exercise is front and back. Second exercise is sideways. Third exercise is forehand toss. You can write forehand toss, F by H toss. Fourth one is backhand toss. Fifth one is forehand placing, F by H placing. Sixth one is backhand placing, B by H placing. The seventh one is forehand sides. Every time you are starting with forehand, keep it in mind. Forehand toss, you are starting with forehand toss, then backhand toss. Again forehand placing, backhand placing. Forehand sides. The next one is backhand sides. So how many you have completed? The first one is front and back. Second one is sideways. Third one is forehand toss. Fourth one is backhand toss. Fifth one is forehand placing. Sixth one is backhand placing. Seventh one is forehand sides. Eighth one is backhand sides. These are called quote exercises. Once you are well versed with these quote exercises, then 50% of the game you got it. 50% of the game you got it. Now, this is without quoit you are practicing. This is you are doing without quoit. Okay. Now, I'll show you all these things. First, front and back, then sides, then forehand toss, backhand toss, forehand placing, backhand placing, forehand sides, backhand sides. I'll show you only for 3 to 4 times, not more than that. Okay, I'll show you, keep it in mind. Keep it in mind, if the other committee members give me time, I can extend, but I'll be showing 3 to 4 times. Keep it in mind. Now I'll be starting with forehand, front and back. Front and back. What do you mean by front and back? You will be standing near the end line or baseline to the last. That is called end line or baseline. So you will be, I am telling only keeping a right-hander in view. Okay, assuming a right-hander is learning this. So at the end line, that is baseline, you will be standing 2 feet inside. From baseline, you will be standing 2 feet inside, keeping your left leg forward. Right leg will be towards the end line, left leg will forward. Okay, you are standing near the end line, inside the end line, 2 feet inside. Near the end line, you are putting your right leg, left leg in front. Now you will be taking 3 steps. 3 steps. Right leg first step, left leg second step, third step again right leg. In the 3 steps, you will be reaching the deadline. You will be reaching the deadline in 3 steps. Listen, you are standing, keeping your left leg forward, right leg back near the baseline. Now first step, you are bringing your right leg forward. Second step, you are bringing your left leg forward. Third step, you are bringing your right leg forward so that you are reaching the deadline. Once you reach the deadline, bend your right leg. Bend your right leg. The left leg will be straight. Bend your right leg. Touch the deadline. Again, go back in the same way. First step, right leg back. Second step, left leg back. Third step, come back to the baseline. You are coming back to the same position. Okay. You are keeping your right leg inside 2 feet of the baseline, left leg forward. On count number 1, you are taking your right leg forward. Count number 2, left leg forward. Count number 3, you are taking your right leg forward. You are reached to the baseline, that is deadline. Touch the deadline, then come back. Count number 1, right leg back. Count number 2, left leg back. Count number 3, your right leg back to the baseline. I'll be showing this. Assume this as a court. Assume this as a court. Assume this. This is court. Okay. Now, on the baseline, you are standing on the baseline, keeping your right leg towards the baseline. Keeping your right leg towards the baseline, you are putting your left leg forward. If not, I'll show you. I'll take the complete position. That is the deadline. What the mat is, the yoga mat is deadline. And you are starting from this position. This is my starting position. I am taking my right leg back, left leg forward. Now count number 1, right forward. Count number 2, left forward. Count number 3, right forward and bend. Touch the deadline. The other leg should be straight. Now again, 1 back. 2, left leg back. 3, right leg back. Okay, you have to learn like this. The left leg is forward, right leg is back. Count number 1, 2, 3, right leg forward near the deadline. Bend your knee, touch the deadline. Lift the leg, again back. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Every time when you are standing back, your right leg will back. When you are going forward, your right leg will forward. Now right leg is back. When I am going forward, my right leg will forward. When I am going back, right leg back. Okay? In the same way, you have to run. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is called front and back exercise. This is called front and back exercise. Now I'll show you the sideways. Assume this is, you have to do only half court from zone line to sideline. From zone line to sideline. You have to do only in between the zone line, in the middle line and the sideline. From here, you have to bend. Keep the middle line straight, middle leg straight. Touch the sideline. Jump. touch the zone line, jump, touch the sideline, jump, touch the zone line. This is called sideways. This is called sideways exercise. First one is front and back. Second one is sideways. Now forehand toss. Look at my feet. In the forehand toss, you will be standing like this. Your right side is called forehand. From here, you will be taking 1. From here, your right leg back. 1, 2, 3. From the center, this is zone line. This is zone line. You are standing by keeping both the legs by side of the zone line. One leg on either side of the zone line. From here, 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2. When you are coming back, only 2. When you are starting, in the beginning, you will get 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. After that, only 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. In the beginning, you will get 3 counts. After that, only 2 counts. Now, whenever you are going back, your right leg will be back. When you are coming forward, your right leg will be forward. If you are a right-hander, right leg will be forward, back. If you are a left-hander, left leg will be forward. So, this is called forehand toss. Okay? This is forehand toss. And now, backhand toss. From here, you will take your left leg back. Jump. From here, left leg back. I am teaching you backhand. From here, left leg back. Jump. As if you are doing sideways jump. Here also you are doing sideways. Left leg back. Jump. Take your right leg back. This is backhand position. Again forward. Jump. Jump. Right leg back. Right leg forward. Jump. Jump. Right leg back. Right leg forward, jump. So this is basic. If you know these steppings, almost 50% you feel that you are in the game. So this is, I told you, forehand, front and back, sideways, forehand toss, backhand toss. Now forehand placing. Whenever you do any forehand placing, don't forget that you will be doing the sideways. Okay, now you are doing a forehand placing. When you are doing forehand placing, only single step you have to reach to the court. When you are doing backhand placing, first sideways, then bring your right leg forward. So whenever, a simple method is, simple method. Keep it in mind. This is called even a blind man can do this. This is called, a blind man can also do this. Whenever you receive a quoit near the deadline, your right leg should be forward. Simple rule. Whenever you receive a quoit near the deadline, your right leg should be forward. Whenever you receive a quoit on the baseline, your right leg will be back. Simple. Whenever you are receiving a quoit near the deadline, your right leg should be forward. If you are a right-hander, assuming that you are a right-hander, whenever you receive a quoit near the deadline, your right leg will be forward. Whenever you receive a quoit near the baseline, your right leg will be back. So either way, whether you are receiving the quoit in front or back, your right leg will be leading leg. That is called leading leg. Whenever you are holding, your right leg will be there. Never bring your left leg. Never. The last movement of your feet will be right leg only. The last movement of your feet will be right leg. The quoit is in your hand. The last movement will be your right leg, not your left leg. If you are taking left leg movement, you are doing wrong. The game itself will be going to split apart. Means you have to, last movement will be your right leg. On the same time, simultaneously the quoit will be in your hand. Landing the quoit in your hand and landing your right leg will be simultaneously done. If you are putting the other leg, so you are going to do some mistake. the landing of the quoit in your hand, the landing of your leg on the ground should be simultaneously done. If you are doing the other way, landing of the quoit in your hand, landing of your left leg, means you are going to do a mistake now. Because whenever you release a quoit, your right leg will be in the front. Your right leg will be in the front. Now, when you are taking the quoit and left leg is in front, so 100% you are going to do a mistake. You are going to take your right leg forward. That is called stepping. So keep this in mind. Whenever you receive a quoit, your right, the quoit lands in your hand, your right leg will be the last movement, not your left leg. Right leg will be the last movement. Now, whenever you receive a quoit in front of the deadline, your right leg will be forward. Whenever you receive a quoit at the baseline, your right leg will be back. This is a simple rule. Yeah, any doubt in this?
If anybody is having doubt, you can ask in your own language. Don't feel hesitated to talk in your language. What language you know? If you know your Hindi or only English or only Tamil or only Kannada, you can ask your own language.
Hello.
Orlena, tell me now. You convey yourself in Hindi. You just convey.
किसी को कुछ डाउट है तो आप लोग पूछ सकते हैं. ऐसा कोई रूल नहीं है कि आप इंग्लिश में ही पूछना, चाहे हिंदी, मराठी, कन्नड़ा, तमिल, कोई भी लैंग्वेज है पूछ सकते हैं. आप आपके ओन लैंग्वेज में पूछ सकते हैं. यहाँ ट्रांसलेटर्स बहुत है, एक्सेप्ट असमीज. Assamese can speak English, English as well as other thing. But others you can speak in your even Punjabi, Hindi, Marathi, Kannada, Tamil, anything. You can ask your own language. We'll try to understand, and people are there to help us. No problem that you should ask only in English. ऐसा कोई जरूरत नहीं कि आप सिर्फ इंग्लिश में पूछना. कोई दिक्कत है आप कोई लैंग्वेज में पूछ सकते हैं. ठीक है. I hope that I am clear for today's session. So today, a recap of yesterday's: spinning the grip of the quoit, spinning in front of you, by side of forehand, backhand, and release and quoit, receiving the quoit, release and receiving the quoit, and the stepping. And today's class, I dealt with stepping, general exercise, specific exercise in the court, that is front and back, and all these things comes under the specific exercise. After that, I told you the forehand toss, backhand toss, forehand placing, backhand placing. Now, one more thing, whenever you take a step towards the backhand, it will be two steps. Whenever you take a step towards your backhand, it will be two steps. Whenever you take a step towards your forehand, it will be only one step. In forehand side, it will be only one step, except for toss. Rest all forehand placing sides, forehand placing in sides, it will be only one step. But forehand placing and backhand placing and backhand sides, it will be two steps. Why two steps? So that your right leg will be coming forward. If you take only one step, your left leg will be forward. If you take two steps, your right leg will be forward. So any stepping except the toss, except the forehand toss, all steps towards the forehand will be single step. All steps will be single step except forehand toss. But in the backhand, all steps including backhand sides, backhand toss, backhand placing, it will be two steps. All the backhand side movement will be two steps. All the forehand sides movement will be single step except the forehand toss. You can write it down. All the steps towards the backhand side will be two steps. all the steps towards the backhand will be 2 steps, and all the steps towards the forehand will be single step, except forehand toss, where you have to take 2 steps. Sai Ram. Yeah, any other doubt? कोई दिक्कत? मैं बोलने का है, कोई मेरा बोलने का है, आपको समझ में आया कि नहीं पता नहीं?
Sir, Amod from Maharashtra.
Yeah.
Sir, you explain 2 things when we are training to students. Can you explain again, please, sir? 2 things to keep in mind.
Okay, that
when
is,
we are training to students.
Yeah. What will happen is, don't feel that you are a coach, a big coach. What will happen if you feel they cannot come up to your standard, they cannot come up to your level because they are beginners. वो लोग अभी start कर रहे हैं, game को अभी शुरू करें. You cannot ask them to come up to your level. उसलिए क्या करना आप लोग? You start with simple exercises. आपका ground बहुत बड़ा है, तो ask them to walk for half round, ask them to jog for quarter round, ask them to run for rest other quarter round. If you ask them to go for 10 rounds, it will be very difficult for them. So you have to go from simple to complex. अगर आपका ground छोटा है 100 meters, your ground is 100 meters. So ask them to walk for 2 rounds, 100 meters 2 rounds walk करो बोलो, and 100 meters slowly jog, then 100 meters let them run. Enough. Slowly you have to increase. So when you are doing this, keep this in mind. If they are sweating more, अगर ज़्यादा पसीना आ रहा उनको, you stop giving training. Ask them to take rest. If they are sweating profusely, ज़्यादा sweat हो रहा, तो उनको rest लो बोल के बोलना. एक वो है. दूसरा, जब वो लोग practice कर रहे हैं, उनका चेहरा देखना. अगर चेहरे का रंग बदल गया, so they are under fatigue. बहुत ज़्यादा थक गए वो लोग. चेहरे का रंग बदल गए तो बहुत ज़्यादा थक गए. उसलिए वो टाइम पे भी आप रेस्ट देना. Even when you are playing nationals, आप प्लेयर्स को देखो, जो प्लेयर्स खेलते रहते हैं उसको देखो, चेहरे का रंग बदल जाता. अगर उन्हें ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस पे है, स्ट्रेन पे है, चेहरे का रंग, at the time you have to take time out. उन्हें अपोनेंट 20 पॉइंट लीड पे टाइम आउट देता हूँ. इट इज नॉट द रूल. रूल क्या है? सी दैट हाउ मच दे आर टायर्ड. चेहरे का रंग बदलता कब बदलता? उन्हें ज्यादा बहुत थक गया जब भी चेहरा का रंग बदलता. अगर ज्यादा थक गया तो भी पसीना आता, वो टाइम पे आप लोग टाइम आउट लेना उसे. लेकिन अपोनेंट 3 पॉइंट लीड पे चले गया, टाइम आउट लो. नो, इट इज नॉट दैट. व्हेन योर प्लेयर इज एबल टू प्ले, डोंट टेक टाइम आउट. ठीक है? टाइम आउट आप जब ये कोचिंग दे रहे तो यू हैव टू कीप दिस 2 थिंग्स. इफ योर प्लेयर इज स्वेटिंग प्रोफ्यूसली, ज्यादा पसीना निकल रहा, इफ इज स्वेटिंग मोर, गिव हिम रेस्ट. सेकंड, इफ द कलर ऑफ द चेंज ऑफ द फेस, जनरली आप पैर को, हाथ को जल्दी महसूस नहीं होता. अगर हाथ का रंग बदल रहा, पैर का रंग बदल रहा, ज्यादा महसूस नहीं होता. चेहरे का रंग जल्दी पता लग जाता. The color changes, you can visible, the color change of the player is visible only on the face, not leg and hands. So that's why you have to see when you are doing exercise, look at their face also. If the अगर बहुत लाल हो गया, give him rest. You know pretty well he is tired. Suppose आप मेरे को, you may ask question, suppose उन्हें काला है साहब, काला का रंग कैसा बदलता? You may ask me this, काला का रंग कैसा बदलता? Okay, if you cannot see with the face changing the color, if he is a black, अगर उन्हें सफेद है, गोरा है, वो तो it will become red and more red. If he is black, you cannot see the change of the color. Then what you have to see, is he sweating? First point. No. Second, how he is doing his movements. If he is doing his movements very slowly, unable to cope up with the other, feel that he is tired. Till then, he was doing according with the other players he is doing. But after some time, if he is unable to cope up with the players, think that he is tired. Okay, you can ask me, अरे करने का है, you want to rest, you want to take rest, or can you continue? अगर उसको बोले तो उन्हें समझ जाता, yes, I want to take rest, sir. उन्हें काला है सर, मेरे को रंग पता नहीं चला, उसलिए करते क्या, उन्हें नीचे गिर गया, बोले बात, मेरे को फोन करते आप, साहब गिर गया, साहब क्या करूं मैं? Okay, so it is not like that. So you have to see the player's condition also. उसका capacity कितना है? उन्हें 10 साल का बच्चा है, उसका lung capacity कितना रहता है? What will be his lung capacity? Okay, keeping all these things in mind, you have to give him training. Slowly you have to develop his lung capacity. धीरे धीरे, आज 2 राउंड भागा, एक हफ्ते तक 2-3 राउंड भागाते रहो. Next week, make him 3 rounds. Next week, 4 rounds, 5 rounds. Then you ask him, can you go for 5 rounds? He will tell, yes sir, go. उसके ऊपर भी छोड़ना थोड़ा, सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ता. आप बोले फर्स्ट डे 10 राउंड भागो बोलते, दूसरे दिन उन्हें देखता, फोन करके पैर दर्द ऐसा बोलता. So slowly from simple to complex you have to take him. धीरे से धीरे धीरे उसको इंटरेस्ट क्रिएट करना, छोटे छोटे एक्सरसाइज से हल्का हल्का कॉम्प्लिकेटेड एक्सरसाइज दिखाना उसको. ओके, पहले दिन ही आप उसको थोड़ा दंड बैठक मारो, ये करो वो करो बोलते नहीं होता. For 10 years student or a student studying in 6th class, 5th class, you cannot ask him to do all this exercise. Just normal exercise. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Anybody else? You can ask your doubt, otherwise we can conclude the meeting.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, just I need some clarification regarding the age for the students. What will be the correct age to start the coaching for maybe for girls or boys? Anything? Anybody? What will be the right age to start training them for tennis?
Right age.
Yeah.
It depends upon place to place. Now, if you take a student of Assam, or any hilly area, at 7-8, they'll be very strong enough. Or if you go to the other side, that is northern part, Haryana, Punjab, at the age of 7-8, they are very stout. Once you come to the southern region, except some parts of Tamil Nadu, interior parts of Tamil Nadu, others will be little, all southern states will be up to 11, 12, we will be just pampering them. Okay, we will be pampering them. So, as we are having under 14 years also, the category is under 14, you can start them between 9 and 10 years. You can start them at 9 and 10 years, so that at the 11 years, he'll be just introducing himself in the nations. At the 12 years, he'll be gaining a little bit experience. At 13 years, he can show his skill. At 14th year, he can become a national champion. So at around 9 and 10, you can. So you should not think that he should become a national champion. First, let him become fit. Let him become fit to play the game, because it is not the end of the road. 14 years is not the end of the road, because from there he has to come for the juniors and seniors. So it will be very difficult for coping up with these senior players. Okay, up to 18, he may be with these players. But once he comes to 18, so he should naturally go for the senior players. So let us concentrate on his physical fitness. Let us concentrate on the physical fitness, so that slowly he can develop. Okay, so it is for 10 years, don't make him rub his nose to the ground. Let him enjoy the game. Let him enjoy the game at 9 and 10 years. 11, just push him. Yes, so these are the benefits of the game. After that 12 years, he'll come to know. 13 years, he'll be there in the limelight. 14th year, he'll come to know, yes, my name is there in the TV or in the newspaper. Slowly you have to encourage him. It is not that at the 6 years you will start. No.
Thank you very much, sir.
Their palms are very short. If you start at 4th class, 5th class, their palms are very small. They cannot catch the coin. And if you explain them also, they cannot know this. Let them play, give them coin, let them play. But once they are 9 and 10 years, then you can tell what is the procedure, how to hold the coin. In the beginning, also, if you tell them, that what you are telling, let them enjoy the game.